Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Dana and this is Delighted to DIY. For this DIY, I started off with a free wood shadow box that I got off buy and sell, or actually no, just a freebie site from my local area. Anyways, it was in great condition other than obviously the back felt is green. It looks really old, but whatever was in it, somebody had already removed, which made it easier for me. So I started by cleaning it, then I needed to try and get the glass out. It took me a couple of attempts with different tools, but the good old butter knife seemed to work the best. Then I popped out the metal clips that were holding the glass in. After giving everything a good clean, I then gave it a rough coat of chalk paint, white chalk paint, then added a nice layer of the matte decoupage by Deco Art, and then put on a piece of this tissue paper that I got from Dollartree. Once it was dry, I used my sanding block from Dollartree to sand off all the edges and then gave it one more coat of the matte decoupage from Deco Art to seal it all in. Using the tiny little screwdrivers from Dollartree, I removed the hanger before giving the frame a coat of white chalk paint. Then this step that I'm going to show you, I decided that I didn't really like, but I'll show you anyways. I did try to make my own darker wax using clear wax or white wax and then adding some black paint to it. So here I am just painting it on and then rubbing it off. I didn't really like the look, so then in the next part you'll see that I come back in and kind of go really heavy dry brushing with the original white paint. So I think all in all, had I just maybe dry brush some darker color on, that would have given me the same effect and saved me a whole bunch of time. So hopefully it saves you guys time if you attempt this. Next, with some jumbo popsicle sticks from my local Dollarama, I used 4 of them and cut them down to fit into the frame. With the antique wax by Folk Art, I stained all 4 of the jumbo popsicle sticks. I only did the fronts, sides, and edges. I didn't need to do the backs. Or maybe I did do the backs. I can't remember. Yes, I did the backs. Anyways, as you see here. Anyways, using some super glue from Dollar Tree. It was their quick set 3-second hold. I glued in the 4 pieces. Then I placed a bead of super glue all the way around and glued back in the frame, put back on the hanger, and then went to town with some florals from a combination were from Michael's, Dollar Tree, Dollarama. Also, if you don't like the green felt, which did occur to me, you could always paint it or try and remove it. I didn't do either, but it is an option. Then with some ribbon, some cute gingham ribbon or buffalo check, whichever you want to call it. Maybe it's buffalo check because it's bigger and I guess gingham is smaller. Anyways, I made a simple bow, tied it with some jute twine, put a little dab of super glue because I thought if you want, you could always probably change this out by removing the bow and maybe putting a different color, different florals. Who knows? Use your imagination. I think it could be very versatile. For this DIY, I took a scraper and scraped off all wooden frame that I got from my local that was on there from before, which I had already redone once for my daughter. It's in Malibu Beach, had some seashells around it. Anyways, white my daughter wasn't using it anymore, so I thought it was perfect for this "What would you make" challenge. After this was done, I took some wooden garden tags that you can get at Dollarama and began to make a chevron pattern with them. There's probably a way to do it that's like an official woodworking way. I kind of just did my own thing on how I thought it would work. So I kind of found the middle of the frame where they were going to meet, marked this with a pencil, then kind of just did a 45-degree angle so they would meet there at the middle where the line was. Then I just kind of marked on the sides and used my scissors to trim them. If they were, I will say, trim them kind of on the the bigger side and work your way down, because if you trim them too small the first time, then it sucks. You kind of have to start again. Again, I am no woodworking master by any means. Again, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is the way that worked for me. After I got all my pieces fit, it was kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. So at times, sometimes I was able to cut them. If I knew only a little bit had to come off, I would use the sanding sponge. But once I had them all in place, I did kind of the top, left some out of the middle, and then the bottom. And again, because as I've said, I think probably 3 times now, it was like a jigsaw puzzle. I am marking the backs, so it would be a lot easier to put them back in, because each one kind of fit in its own spot. Taking some of the Minwax water-based stain that I had mixed up in, I think it's dark walnut, either antique walnut or dark walnut, or American walnut. It was one of those 3. If you want to know, I'll try and locate it and put it down in the comment, or oh my gosh, I will get my words right. I will put it down in my description box. I just have it in a mason jar, so it's easier for me because it is in a quart size can. But that's all that I use. So again, brushed it on, wiped it off. To adhere them to the frame, or the wooden frame, or the backing, I just used my hot glue and put them all into place. Then with some burlap ribbon, this one was from Michael's that I got, I think, 60% off back at Christmas time. It's part of their Christmas collection. So unfortunately, you probably won't find it now, but you could pretty much use anything you want. I just had this on hand. So using this, I used about 2 feet, anywhere between, I guess, 1.5 to 2 feet will make you some of the larger size flowers that you will see. You could probably get away with about 1 foot worth, and that'll give you a smaller one. So yeah, the less your yardage, the smaller your flower. Same with, you'll see me work with a thinner ribbon. It'll obviously make you a smaller one as well. If you guys would like a tutorial, like in slower and more detailed on how to make these, let me know in the comments, and I would be more than happy to show you how to make these in a slower, more detailed way. But I made a whole bunch of rosettes or flowers out of 3-4 different colors and an actual burlap. I kind of dry fitted them into the place remaining where there was no wood chevron. Then once I was happy where they were, I just took one out at a time, glued it in with my hot glue gun. And Bob's your uncle for this DIY, other than, never mind, no, it's not actually. Because like I said, I am not a master woodworker, you can see cracks and white coming through behind the chevron pieces where my cuts weren't exact or they weren't straight. So I went in with some burnt umber from Dollartree and a really tiny, teeny, weeny paintbrush, and just darkened those areas just so they weren't as visible to the naked eye. From far away, you can't really see it, but I think I have some form of perfectionism, and it bothered me. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about doing this. But yeah, I had to fill them in. Then I took this teeny weeny brush still and the burnt umber again and just dry brushed and kind of distressed to my heart's content. I gave it a little sanding just to kind of blend it in some more. And now, Bob's your uncle, this is the end of DIY number 2. I hope you liked it. I will have links to both their channels in my description box below, as well as a link to the playlist to check out what all the other awesome creators have made for this challenge. For this DIY, I took some scrap wood from my pile and used 2 fence boards for the back pieces. Then I used some 1x3, cut it down for the pieces that will be sticking out from the backboards, and then cut down some 1x2s with some beveled edges. My first time doing beveled edges with my miter saw, and gave them 45-degree angles because we are going to be making kind of like really simple corbels. So once I had all my cuts, hopefully I can figure out what the measurements were. But again, this is kind of just for inspiration. Make it whatever size you want. If you want the exact sizes that I used, let me know. I will put them for you in the description box. Anyways, I gave everything a quick sand with my sanding block from Dollar Tree. Then I gave everything a rough coat of Fusion milk paint in the color Hotel Robe, which is their white. I gave it a rough coat because I wanted it to be very rustic looking. Then using a liquid nails, I took the 1x3 piece and glued it to the backboards with liquid nails. I think I already said that. Then did this. So we're making a pair. So obviously repeat everything for the second one. Then our beveled edge pieces, I applied wood glue, Gorilla Wood glue onto them on the ends, and then some hot glue for an immediate hold in the middle. Then to make sure everything is secure, I used some brad nails and my little wee hammer and nailed everything in. So from the back, I nailed in the piece that is going to be horizontal, but you're looking at it vertically right now. And then as you saw, I put 2 little nails into each end of the brace part. Then with some chain that came off one of the hanging baskets from Dollar Tree, I cut it down to, I think it was 4 lengths. It's what fit nicest for me. Cut it down to 4 lengths and used a little clip to clip on these cute little glass candle holders that I got from my local Dollarama. They were $2 each, and hung them from cup hooks that I screwed into the bottoms, and then put in a flameless battery operated candle. And that is it for this DIY. You have now created a pair of wall sconces that I think turned out super adorable. If you like them, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. And as always, let me know what you think. Until next time, bye.